top lane pools, where your blue side banning Maokai and UOL will continue to ban Nidalee every single game.
Yeah, I guess they just don't want to deal with that pick at all, and they don't want to deal with that lane bully, which means that Vizicachi might go on something like Aurelia.
He just might, honestly, because Aurelia is very strong. He's been playing largely the one-on-one fighters, Aurelia, Jax, Trundle, almost every single game. Aurelia gets removed away. Okay, well, his Jax is still there, as is Shyvana, maybe if he wants it.
He saw that one coming and banned the Aurelia last ban rotation. Unicorns of Love are going to have to think a little bit about that top lane pick. And this is actually, it's fun to go between matchups and be like, all right, there were 5 mid bans, like NIP, SKP.
Now it's like 4 top bans.
There you go. Possibly a 5th still in the works.
This is 413 Gragas as well, so the respect going through Lee Sin away from Trashy. Evelyn's still in the pool for him, though, if he wants it. Mid laner completely, well, aside from Syndra, untouched.
It's funny because Lee Sin isn't really that high up there in Trashy's pool. He's more of a J4 player recently, and he likes to force things very early on. He does have the Kha'Zix in his back pocket, too, which did get a buff a while ago. Yeah. And now he's actually a little bit more on par with the current junglers that are in the top tier.
And look at this, Unicorns of Love. They get the Morgana taken away. Now, a more interesting champ select gimmicks, of course, Hylissang not getting his Morgana here. That was banned away from him every single game by G2. First picked here by H2K. Now, I haven't seen him play Morgana more than once here in the Challenger Series, but Hylissang, clearly a high priority in removing that from him. However, I forgot about this. Kassadin is still up.
I was sitting there and I'm like, Kassadin's still up. Yasuo was still up because we had so many mid bans in the last couple of games, and now you're going to one that only has one mid lane ban coming in here. Pretty much everything is up, and it's like, what do I want to pick? And the fact that Power of Evil has locked in the Orianna very, very early on, you can see exactly what you're picking that Kassadin into if you're going to pick it.
Yep. And we tend to see teams go for Orianna when they do leave Kassadin up. That tends to be that, like, quote-unquote counter pick. More often than not, I see the Orianna go through, so that could be the prep here. They do not want Febiven to get Orianna. They're going to give him Kassadin. And now something you got to watch.
Yeah, the Clockwork windup will help you a little bit in the early game. But yeah, I think these 2 picks are definitely what H2K want to go for. They have been favoring Trashy on that J4. Give you guys a little bit of an example. He played it 3 times out of the 5 games that we saw him in Summer Series 2. So more than 50% of his games were on J4 in the last Challenger Series.
So here's the interesting thing. H2K really reluctant to show their top lane or AD carry. They have every opportunity to grab Cassie whenever they want, Jarvan whenever they want, they're uncontested, but they just pick the same lanes that UOL grab. They're trying really hard to get counter picks here, aside from the Morgana early. Of course, you got the cat ball combo, that's going to be all kinds of scary. UOL consider their bot lane here. I would not expect Blitzcrank here because I think he's weak against Morgana. Tristana makes plenty of sense. Vardox plays a lot of these late game carries. Tristan Corki, what he's played so far in the playoffs.
Yeah, the fact that they have this Orianna ball combo means they'll probably follow it up with a CC type support, whether it's Leona or whether it's Braum. Those both seem like really good examples to me. And also, Thresh is a fantastic one too if you can get the box on top of it. Yep. But I don't think he's going to go with something that isn't that heavy like a Blitzcrank. Like Blitzcrank is more of a pick, and this comp seems like they want to team fight more.
Yeah, well, Braum I don't think I'd like very much just because it gives you so much opportunity to lose your bot lane for free. Braum and Morg already fairly weak. Tristana also one of the weaker laners of the AD carry, so yeah, Thresh will set them up for a much better.
They could have taken something like a Nami too. Like
True.
That's a good pick as well.
Nami Trish is a great lane.
And also the fact that it would have been into a Morgana is also another little thing to consider. But the fact that Hylissang is going to go with that Thresh, he has had some good showings on it. He played it yesterday to great success. We're going to see him again on it.
And it could be all kinds of scary. Then you actually, I believe it was taken away very quickly from him in Champs like from G2. He got it early the first time around, and then G2 was like, no, we're going to grab this first round and keep it away from Hylissang's hands. And H2K put the rest of the lineup together. So early game bullying there. Lucian, Morgana down there, Mundo in the top lane. So an early game bot lane, and then a very scaling mid and top.
Yeah, I like this. I like this a lot because Trashy's going to start trying to get these lanes ahead because he doesn't like to sit on his hands and do nothing. He likes to dictate the pace of the game, and he likes to make it very quick. So whether he's going to be in a lane, whether it's bot lane snowballing it or top lane like counter ganking Gilius, he's going to be applying pressure somewhere, even if it's right on top of Gilius because he's Rengar and has no escapes in the jungle.
Yeah. Oh, and that's the thing is, I feel like Jarvan's going to do a pretty good job in the duel, and he can get away even if he does get ganked somehow. But how do you have follow-up is the problem. Mid laners typically follow junglers in when they go for invades, and Kassadin is not likely to have a push lead in that mid lane. Chachi, what do you want to play against Dr. Mundo here in the top lane? He's played almost exclusively duelists.
Yeah, he's favoring Aurelia, Jax, Trundle, Shyvana,
Yorick.
Maokai, but it is going to be the Yorick, and they're going for a little bit of a ghost here for Tristana in the late game for Vardax.
So, to me, there's no obvious ult synergy of Yasuo, aside from Rengar. Like, you could go AD Rengar here, let him dive in, get revived, keep fighting if they think they have the damage to come through. Assuming they have the lockdown with like Orianna, but like normally you put like Ryze or Cassiopeia or something in there, something that's going to be in the front line, just deal a bunch of damage, come back, deal even more damage with the Ghost. But
yeah.
champs like, or like Vayne, right? But like,
I feel like Tristana is still a really good pick for Yorick. I think they synergize all right, but the fact is that she doesn't die very often unless you're playing her incorrectly at the start.
So you get like the first part of the Ghost.
Exactly. But that is into a Kassadin, so it's kind of back and forth on that one.
Yeah.
It's really hard to figure out what he's going to be doing with that, but we'll have to see, because I mean, it might just be, I'm going to ghost you so we push turrets faster.
That's true. To be honest, that can work out as well. I think also Yorick, I actually expect him to have a pretty good matchup in the 1v1 against Mundo. It's weird because I don't know Yorick that well. I don't run into it in solo queue, and it tends to be a very EU pick, so I don't get to watch it as much. So I'll be probably a little bit uninformed here, but I know that it tends to underperform when the rest of your team is safe. That's what I've seen so far.
It's a champion that when you snowball one lane, it just snowballs it even harder. It's kind of like almost a utility type. Like, how useful is Zillion's ultimate on somebody? It's more effective if that person has a lot of stats. So when they come back, they're just back in the fight like that.
Yeah.
Or if you're using Kale ultimate, or if you're using whatever the utility may be.
Usually don't want to like ult a Nautilus, for example.
Exactly.
They don't do that much when they come back.
Exactly. So Gillies is going to try to catball delivery system into fights. Vardax will try to clean up members that are a little lower. And if anything goes awry, they have Zichachi and Yorick.
So the things to think about, though, is because the Rengar ulti is telegraphed, like with enough time, I don't think he can ever get in on Febiven. As long as Kassadin's smart about this, he knows once the blue buff respawns, or any buff respawns, to expect Rengar to be level 6. And to keep Riftwalk ready, don't spam it for no reason. So as soon as you see Rengar, you're just like, hop to my turret, no big problem. And Febiven should pretty much always be safe. Top lane, I feel like Yorick can't necessarily kill Mundo. Maybe I'm wrong in the matchup and it's like a really big bully phase. But I don't know how gankable top lane is. Bot lane, maybe, but it's still Lucian Morgana.
So it's a little bit in favor of Yorick at the start, but he does run into mana issues. He's very mana-gated in his harassment. Whereas as soon as his bar gets to about half or 1/3, he's also extremely vulnerable and easy to gank is the big thing with Yorick. Granted, he has a ton of sustain, he has a ton of harass, but Mundo does come out on top. I mean, sorry, Yorick comes out on top.
Yorick comes out early game.
Yeah.
Okay, well, both junglers starting top side, though, means they'll show up with the bot lane late. Hillsong gets the flay onto AOD. Huron, they're getting some really good damage back down. Oh my gosh, this is a lot of health lost already by the UOL bot lane.
Yeah, and Dark Binding's back up for AOD. He's going to go try to land another one.
Slight push lead for UOL, but they're having to respect Morgana so much. Hillsong's so low that they're not getting this wave push too fast. Gilius looks for the invade. He's going to be there fast. Jarvan's still taking his wolves down right now.
Yep, and this is the thing, is that Trash is going to come to this buff. Gilius is going to sit here. Oh, he walks out, sees him.
He didn't see him. Jumps in and gets through. Good damage coming down already. Trash, he's got to be real careful. There's a red buff on him. He's going to die. Why even flash? You can jump.
Wow.
Was he expecting the EQ to come out?
I don't know.
He might have expected a flash EQ.
There was no EQ available. The cooldown on that at rank 1 is really high, and the fact that the standard was still there at the camp.
Yeah.
Gilius, well, granted, no complaining, because he did pick up first blood for himself, but also the fact that his side wasn't warded, there's no counter to him. He ends up with that easy kill, and he gets himself a buff.
Well, great start to the game. Then, oh, 2 CS missed. Don't make it a third. Good job. Vardog's Hillsong doing all right. Hook's going to land on an AOD, but in comes Zirene immediately. CC's down. Great kill the support. Good damage coming through. Gotta be careful. And now Gilius completes the 3-buff start with the kill. I guess it's a 4-buff start.
Yeah.
The guy's working double buffs.
At 3 minutes in. And the fact that Trashy is still level 2, Trashy's not going to be able to make the same types of plays he loves to make because he can't force things if the Rengar's a higher level and then counter him. Watch this. Is he just going to come bully? Wow. He's gonna be BM and steal. Look at that. Level 4.
Gilius level 3. Or sorry, Trashy level 3 to Gilius level 4. Just gets scraps right now. Jarvan will catch up when the buffs respawn, but for the next 3 minutes or so, it's going to be pretty downhill for the Jarvan.
Trashy, he wants to exert this pressure on all of these lanes. They all have ample opportunity to make plays on them.
But can he?
But he can't. It's going to be really difficult, especially as a J4. When you get put behind, you kind of think to yourself, well, if I get counter jungled, I will EQ in, then I have no way out. Or if I EQ into a gank and I get counter ganked, there's no way out. Oh, point blank.
Damage down. Ignite is popping Hillsong, though they really want this kill. Puddle comes down as well. Black Shield onto Hjarnan. They're going to trade safe. This Thresh still has a potion or so.
AOD about to have the binding.
They're going to hit AOD running a little bit low on mana. Vardogs has plenty, and about half for Hjarnan right here. They're going to stay safe. Power of Evil up 14 CS so far in the mid lane, pushing Febiven around. 37 to 20 now. Lander comes out for a fake, pushes them off the CS. And you can see how scared H2K has to be of, is there a Rengar?
Yeah, and the fact that Gilius is going to hit level 6 fairly quickly off of the gank and the extra experience and the fact that he's been counter jungling Wraiths, you got to be very conscious of that and that timing as H2K's bot lane. So I'm pretty sure that'll be where he ganks first.
It looks like it's a volatile enough matchup here. Honestly, good job by Vardog so far holding up against his Lucian. And honestly, winning a little bit. I thought there was some really good early trades by H2K, but these guys have turned it back around. First TP comes in, double Dorans plus tier for Vizicachi. We'll see what Mundo ends up grabbing. Pretty equal CS on both these sides.
Yeah. Takes care of the monogated issue by getting himself a tier. Seen multiple different builds. Some people go for the Iceborne Gauntlet to try and deal with that, the Frozen Heart. But he's going to go with the Manamune.
What if it's Archangels?
Then
it's not.
AP is bad on Yorick.
Great. Hey man, it was on Mundo.
Yeah.
He did lose that game.
Yes, yes he did. Yes, he did.
Trashy, level 4, 30 seconds-ish till the buffs respawn. Gilius already 5 and change. He's going to try to slink in to one of these brushes here. Can he get a kill on this Mundo?
Oh, Vizicachi says, no, it's my experience. Back off.
All right, so nothing for the kitty. So Adwamna did walk back to lane, whereas Vizicachi teleported, so there was a TP advantage for the next 3 minutes or so that H2K could maybe use. Level 6 now on Mundo, should not be bullied around much anymore. He did give up some CS while walking over, though. Vizicachi didn't push. So it's 17 CS right now. It'll equalize a little bit.
Yeah, early game advantage here is definitely in UOL's favor, but that's kind of by nature of the composition, except for the Lucian down bottom. Like, top lane, you're going to get bullied by the Yorick. Mid lane, you're going to get bullied by the Orianna as Cassidy. But then the Rengar tipping the matchup just even exacerbates this problem further.
Oh, that's bad.
And so does that. So now the buffs have respawned. Gilius is going to get himself a red and level 6. He might actually just go hunt Trashy in the jungle.
I think it would work pretty all right. Febiven keeps getting forced to stay mid lane with no health and no mana, nothing to do. Power of Evil, I don't think he could even die to a Jarvan gank right now. Level 7 Orianna, level 5 on the Jarvan. And here's the blue buff attempt.
Trashy is so afraid of that Rengar gank that he ends up getting himself a pink ward.
And he's still not 6 yet. He cleared his red camp late. So Trashy, still no ult. He does get spotted by Gilius, though, who trinkets onto the red buff to try to time when it does happen. Vizicachi seems to be doing okay against Adwamna, who's popped ulti to chase him down, but doesn't get much. Trashy's in the wings, though.
Trashy, level 5. They ping to go onto the dragon. immediately because they know Fitbivin is backing.
And they apparently do something about Trashy here, who's just waiting around trying to counter jungle the Wraith camp there. And Unicorns of Love coming into this match as pretty big underdogs, but honestly, they're putting on a great show. There goes the Dragon, 2,000 gold lead, and so far, perfect play by this team.
Yeah, and when we talk about Unicorns of Love, we talk about how they kept getting matched up against NIP, and they just didn't seem like a seasoned team during those quarterfinal matches. And then eventually, they get to the point where, oh, their map pressure, their warding game is actually really damn good. The way that they ward, the way that they control the map and dictate the pace of the game is incredible. And it's something you usually don't expect from a challenger team at this level.
But these guys are definitely impressive strategically for sure. Trashy gets one camp counter jungle. He does get level 6 now, but he's sitting on very few items. Gilius wants in.
Well, he thinks that Trashy is at the red because he had a ward on it, and he's like, okay, it respawned, I have the timer. If I know my timers, Trashy should be doing this red right now.
But instead,
he's not.
Gonna go for the red buff himself as Trashy went to the top lane to counter jungle. Look at this. The rest of UOL come into the tri-bus just to make sure he's safe and say, all right, you got red buff, peace out.
It's the map movements of this team. Trashy is not going to get a red buff so far in this game, and it's about 10 minutes in. He's going to try to look bottom for a gank. He has Cataclysm.
Look down the middle.
If a binding lands, Trashy will most likely flash and try to follow up.
They are trying for this fight pretty hard, but that's kind of a tell that there might be some friends around. Equal items between these guys, basically. Blue buff Power of Evil. They know Rengar's on the bottom side of the map. So top lane would potentially be available for H2K, but bot lane's a bit scarier knowing Rengar's around.
This game, we can already see Vizichachi 91 CS in the top lane to Odwamna's 68. Bullying him around in this early game as York. And here's the thing is York, it's kind of like Nidalee in the sense that you have to get ahead and bully your lane opponent. And there's the flash
engage for AOD. He wants this one. Still going to land the stun on a Vardox. Big damage comes out. Box comes out to try to save him, and it's going to do so. Ulti's traded, but low health bars now for UOL. Hillsong burned his flash, as did AOD.
AOD wanted to land a binding so badly, but the minions wrapped in front of him.
That's unfortunate, but it does mean the Trashy shows up and gets some really good damage down on this turret. H2K, they were down a little bit early on, but they are making this happen now. And this will be eventually a dead turret, or at least a lot of minions lost here. Vardox is like, hey, well, I want XP though.
So he's gonna stick around. Ooh.
That binding could have been death. He didn't even try to jump.
Here comes Gilius around the left side though. Ulti is on.
Ulti's on, a little bit low health on Vardox, also on Gilius. There's the reveal, they show it into AOD, they go. A lot of damage comes through, who does not have flash. That is a kill, Gilius flashes out. Vardox re-engages though. He might have wanted to fight a bit more, not gonna be the case. Great kill picked up.
AOD used the black shield on Hjarnan, thinking that Rengar was gonna jump on him. Yep. Rengar jumps on AOD, and he immediately gets bullet. If he had used it on himself, would have been better, but of course he had no way of knowing.
Well, the thing is they did know that AOD had no flash, no ignite, and Hjarnan can dash around as well as flash. They went for the obvious kill, knowing they would get it in the 2v2. Summoner heal by Vardox to ensure that the Rengar lived as well. Now, Manamune here in the top lane. Vizichachi going to get a lot of mana back for all this. And we'll see what the Mundo buys end up being. Sunfire's done.
Keeping tabs on that red buff, making sure they know when it's cleared completely out, and also delaying Trashy's jungle. And I like this, because a lot of H2K's strength relies on Trashy setting up the lanes and being a forcer, being the type of jungler who's going to make the plays. And if you put him this far behind and don't give him the gank assistance buff, then boom, look at how the game starts panning out, especially when you have lanes that kind of flop around and CS for the first 15 minutes.
It's looking pretty good now for Unicorns of Love. Yeah, nothing major has happened in the lanes, right? It's been weak lanes for H2K, bullied around by Unicorns of Love. Gilius now having a great first blood at level 2, as well as a great ulti gank so far. Power of Evil now on the roam. Looks like they can get this Mundo. He sees him coming in, but can he get away? Dissonance.
He has no ulti, but he does have flash.
You got to shockwave him. Ooh, they predict the flash, but no shockwave in time.
Yeah, Odwamna flashes without seeing the shockwave come out. So he blows it preemptively and doesn't even get the cooldown for it. But that's going to say to H2K, it's time to push mid, time to get something off of this.
Top lane Adder goes down, and top lane tier 2 still under fire. Hylissang actually roamed all the way up to help with this one. Interesting place to be. Vardog solos the bot lane. Mid lane Outer does go down, so H2K stay up and equal in turrets. But they're down in CS and they're down in kills. They're going to keep going for mid tier 2 as well. Great choice by H2K to keep doing this.
Gilius off on the side. AOD backing him up. Will they get a tier 2 at 13 minutes and 37 seconds?
Losing a lot of health, and of course these don't regen. He really wants it. Yeah, he can't. Finding on Power of Evil, they're going to be okay for this one. Bot lane Outer, though, under fire right now. Vardog's getting some good damage down, wants to equalize that. Looks like he will get this turret here. So was the turret worth 80% of the mid tier 2's health? Because that's the trade.
That's just one of those investments that maybe will pay off later if they revisit that turret or even get the opportunity to. But look at this, their jungle is completely owned. Trashy has no control of this jungle. UOL. Early game dominance here. They're taking advantage of the Kassadin pick really hard.
Did Gilius jump from the brush outside the blue buff into the blue buff?
He may have. It is possible to do that.
I didn't know you could do that. That's cool.
Because the radius around you lasts for an extra half second when you leave the bush, it gives you just enough. You have to have vision of the blue buff in order to do it.
That's cool.
It's just like Jace can jump over it and all that.
Yeah. Today I learned that the buffer time lets you jump over that wall. That's cool. So for the Rengar players out there, get a yellow or blue trinket and make that jump to blue buff.
Yep.
Yeah, right there. Right over there.
Not that big at all.
Right where Feb. Yeah. But
he can do it too.
It looks way cooler than when Febvin did it.
Yeah, he can do it pretty easily though.
Yeah.
No bushes
that one doesn't even
required.
require any skill.
No bushes required.
Just like playing Kassadin in the first place.
Oh.
I'm kidding. As you can tell, mid lane's been really rough. Power people have been punishing him. Up 40 CS. 40 killed the turret as well. Unicorns of Love now all 3 outer turrets for themselves. And an item lead because of this. Trinity Force, Infinity Edge already done with Vardogs. Cowl coming out for Vizichapti as well. He's going to stay tanky.
Man.
But the question is, can you get far enough ahead before Mundo and Kassadin come online?
Well, thinking back to the days where Trashy was on, I believe, Reason Gaming at the time. Every time a team fought Reason Gaming and they won, it was because Trashy couldn't set the team up early, and they kept pressure on him. And Unicorns of Love are doing exactly that. Now, this is a team that has a great map sense, great map movements. We have to see if they continue to do that, because, man, shutting down Trashy that early on, getting 4 buffs onto Gilius is really, really big. You delay the levels, you delay the power spikes. He just now got his gold generation item at 16 minutes in the game.
Wow, that is plenty slow here. And you're seeing a 5,000 gold leaf Unicorns of Love with all this. It's like every objective well controlled by these guys. Febvin wants a way in, can't do it. Wraiths being stolen away. Unicorns of Love, Hylissang especially, I think, is getting all around the map making plays, and it's great to watch.
Yeah, and just for some perspective there, both AD carries have completed their Infinity Edges when the jungler has just now completed his gold generation item. The disparity between the effectiveness of these two champions is pretty big. Trashy at this point, he's probably, because Trashy likes to go for an extra damage item half the time. He's best off going straight tank now.
Yeah, he has to. To be able to survive in the front line at all, he's got to be able to do that. And of course, Vardogs will stay ahead of him in stats. There comes the jump out of Vizichapti. Can they bring him down? Flash still hits the cleaver, though. He's got to be all kinds of careful. So mid lane now under fire. The flash engage not going to happen for Gilius. A simple dash by Hjarnan keeps him safe. We're seeing Febvin actually being forced away. Vizichapti wins the 1v2 and is now fighting Odwamna. I don't know if he can survive this one, though. Can he dodge the cleaver? He can dodge that one. And are you serious? Vizichapti, one more cleaver to dodge. He dodges that one, too. Goes back in for the fight. Can he get away? The ghouls might be in the way. That cleaver hits, though. That's going to be the kill. Odwamna gets it, but a 1-for-1 overall.
He has to TP out.
Ooh, Hylissang nearly caught him.
Wow. There's also Gilius was wrapping around the side. 2v1, and you almost kill both people. If that wasn't a Mundo and had that amazing amount of regen, he most likely would have been dead too. Vizichapti playing a very effective Yorick, one of the most effective Yoriks I've seen in a while.
I have never seen that before, but that was awesome.
He just killed a Kassadin at level 11.
That's something you don't do.
No. Especially with that mobility. Febvin was right on top of him the entire time.
Well, I mean, on the other side, of course, it has to be a misplay. You know how much damage comes out of that champion. There's no real surprises for Yorick. No, honestly, a bit of a misplay by H2K and a kill they thought they'd get for sure. Unicorns of Love definitely outperforming so far in this game.
Yeah, the 5,000 gold difference in 18 minutes definitely speaks worlds about that. But the way the H2K are playing, they're playing pretty far up right now. They're playing as if there isn't a gold deficit and they actually have the lead. They're not relieving pressure to allow them to get some wards if they want.
That is one of the good things about H2K is I think they respect their gold deficits, but they don't play like they're just losing the game. They play to grab advantages, to make good things happen. They typically make good choices off of that. See if they can move on in. Bit of CC and a Halo-Song. TP comes in as well. This is going to be a fight that H2K wants.
Oh, double knockdown.
Halo-Song goes down. Shockwave catches two. Oh, Dwamna taking the front line. Ignite is on him. Power People tries to get the kill. He does not quite get it, though. And now Rengar falls. AOD explodes, though, and Peppervin does drop on top of that one. Hjarnen's still around, but it's a 3-for-1 in the favor of Unicorns of Love. Now Hjarnen getting chased down, forced to flash away. Oh, Dwamna, who slinked out, did survive, but a fight that Unicorns of Love just won, 3-2.
Yeah, the moment of death got you there.
Yeah, it got me.
Yeah, I was like, oh, the Rengar, nope, he's actually dead. And that's going to give them a turret there for UOL in the mid lane after winning a fight that was engaged by H2K with the TP in. Watch how much damage that Yorick ends up dealing this fight. He comes in, and then he just starts smacking priority targets. He gets to Trashy, Trashy's gone. He starts walking around, he's like, okay, I'm gonna go on AOD. AOD's gone. The Bevan, he's gone too. He walks up and he just finishes these fights off, but also Vardax. Great damage output with the IE completed, smacking people, just completely destroying them from over the wall from a safe area. Power of Evil, it looked like he overextended at one point to try and secure the kill, but it wasn't. He ended up being pretty safe.
Yeah, he survived. Chased a Mundo, didn't really need to. Dwamna did get away. And so here's the thing. Here's part of why this Yorick does work, is Gilius does play damage Rengar. This is what I remember from his series against Gamers 2. He likes to go for the Pharaoh Flare, the Cutlass as well. And so him getting revived and having the Ghost at the start of the fight as well as getting revived at the end does mean some decent damage output comes out of that Rengar.
Yeah, and speaking of damage output, Unicorns of Love on the Dragon.
Ooh, attempted hook, not quite going to land. Hillsong actually flashed for that one. He wanted to try to get Mundo, couldn't quite do it.
This is one of the most effective Yoriks I have seen in a long time. Remember season 2 or 3, that midpoint. It's probably season 3. Yorick at the start was just extremely effective.
Yep.
Just the lane bully, but nobody played him.
But now we're seeing him come back in. Seems to be a pretty big EU pick.
Yeah, EU has the crazy top lane picks. It's like, we're going to play Aurelia, we're going to play Aatrox, we're going to play Yorick.
Yep.
Very different than what you experience in NA. I think it's actually a bigger pool.
I agree. And it's honestly worked pretty well for
yes.
They've had
it definitely worked.
Pretty good set of top laners overall.
The top lane talent in Europe is definitely a very, very deep pool.
Would you say it's top notch?
I would definitely say it is.
We got a top lane tier 2 now getting attacked a little bit, but the wave clear from Hjarnen keeps that turret alive. About 7.5 thousand gold lead. Unicorns of Love not showing signs of slowing down, though they really want this one.
They got a wave clear. TP available from Dwamna, but look at how quickly this turret is going down. UOL, they got a very early lead. They shut down Trashy's forceful style, and then 22 minutes in, they've already taken one tier 2 turret. They keep getting the dragon. They're 7K up over the Summer Series 1 winners.
Yep.
This is really big. Dwamna trying to make a play.
This is the fight, though. How well can they zone him out, though? Looks like they're not really aware of Mundo on the flank right now. Hillsong goes for the hook on a Trashy. Now he's got to zone away the team. Nice box push, though. Dwamna out. This turret does not go down, though. So that is a thresh ult for the EP of Dwamna.
Dodged it.
Then he gets him right back out. Nothing else gained.
This is a gigantic black shield.
Rengar ult down now as well. 2 ultis out for Unicorns of Love.
We'll have to see. Hook onto AOD.
That's a pretty good one. Flay is black shielded, though. Ignite comes down as well. More cooldowns being used by UOL. They've got to be a bit careful they don't run out of spells.
See the binding landing, but they're going to get themselves a turret. Another not landing.
They got that, though. They're now at 8,000 gold, and they're still trying to push forward. They've got to be a bit careful to regen, though. Again, missing a few ults. Hillsong tanks up the cooling, half HP on him. Dwamna still wants in Trashy. Will he engage? Looks like no. Still, I guess not enough items. The Kassadin is so underpowered they can't win a fight.
The Kassadin, basically in comparative power spikes between everybody across the board,
Yeah.
UOL hit them and grouped, and then they aren't letting up right now because now who can CS? You're splitting this one wave among 5 members. Vivin, he's just sitting at 100 less CS. Oh my god.
Hook flay into trash. He's going to go down really quickly. AOD is around, but Shockwave hits 2. They're going to break him down. Now Domina is ignited and will fall on top of that one. 3 for 1 so far. Vivin being chased by the Gilius Ghost. He's doing whatever he can. Roots up Hjarn, then just goes hard as the Ghost. Can he get the kill? Yes! From the grave, Gilius avenges himself, and now 4 kills for 1 inhibitor going down.
That Ghost just ulted.
It was, I think it was casting from before.
It came out ulted.
It kept
so
going.
It just launched off. That was awesome.
That's great, man.
Wow. Trashy, he ends up getting hooked right as he's EQing, I believe, and it interrupts it.
Yeah.
He just flies forward and ends up getting dunked. Just watch Trashy trying to engage here on this. He gets hooked as he
Ease.
Yeah.
He doesn't have time to queue. He ults and dies.
Yeah, he ulties. Ulti doesn't get put on cooldown, I believe. But he ends up getting killed. And then, yeah, Gilius' Ghost is already ghosting, or is already ulting by the time it pops up. So he has the extra movement speed to chase Hjarnan down. So I guess that's why you take the Yorick alongside Gilius' Feral Flare Rengar.
And man, it works. 4, 2, and 4 Rengar. They are basically all-inning on early game power to push in before Kassadin gets gigantic. And it's so far working. Unicorns of Love, 10,000 gold up, attempting the Baron. Honestly, H2K nowhere to be seen, basically. They are not even going to try defending this Baron. 25 minutes, it's going to go down. Beautiful stuff by Unicorns of Love, man.
Yeah, 10K gold lead this early on is ridiculous. They are actually at more of like a 13.5K gold lead. It's getting out of hand, and it has been out of hand for a while now. Unicorns of Love having the map advantage and pushing it from the get-go. They get themselves an inhib, they get themselves a Baron off of that. They don't let up the pressure, and they are looking like a top team.
They are looking absolutely incredible, and who would have thought? If the game keeps going this way, the Challenger Finals would be SK Prime versus Unicorns of Love. The 3rd place match would be H2K versus NIP, but this is what it's looking like right now. These teams have improved so heavily over the last couple of months. Unicorns of Love looking to close out Game 1 fairly soon. Top inhib is dead, Baron buffs on, mid inhib under fire.
Super minions in that top lane. Coming in now, Vivin doesn't have the damage to deal with them. It's gonna take a while. Oh! Gilius went after
Wow,
him.
Trashy just exploded right there. Jungler gone, mid inhibitor under fire. The damage came through out of basically nowhere. Hook onto Abdomina, flayed in as well into the box. Down goes the Dr. Mundo on top of all this one. Superman is inside the base, and UOL turn over to take down Nexus turrets. 26.5 minutes. Unicorns of Love as the 6th seed take Game 1 over the number 2 H2K.
We said they were underdogs coming into this, and it wasn't an understatement, but man, they look good. They've been 4-0'd by NIP, but then they had that 2-1 against Gamers 2 yesterday where they looked really, really good.
Yeah.
Unicorns of Love, you guys been holding out on us.
They have been, and it was a tough series against G2, to be fair. That first quarterfinal match was a bit back and forth. They had some tough games, but yes, Unicorns of Love, man, did they show up, sharpened their horns, whatever it took to get them up in this one, but they are sparkling right now.
Oh.
Go ahead.
No, I have nothing to say to that. I'm not going to even dignify that with a response.
I'm just talking about Unicorns of Love being really good.
Anyway, yeah, no, they do look fantastically good. Like Power of Evil, Vardax across the board here. And I have to say, Gilius' play is really what just sealed the deal for them right off the bat. Getting on Trashy. Nobody has, I'm going to say, nobody's had the balls to go after Trashy that early on.
Yeah.
Every time I've seen it, nobody goes after Trashy that early. Level 2, get him at his red buff. I have not seen that yet.
And what a good plan as well. I'm trying to think back to the level 1. I don't think UOL got deep wards down. I don't think their level 1 put deep wards in. They simply did the research to know where Trashy starts, because they don't think they guessed it off of leashes or anything else. He just simply took his blue buff, ran to the bot lane, jumped into the jungle, and said, I'm going to be here.
Yeah, and Gilius, he was so close to being seen. He walked out of the bush.
Oh, God, yeah, that almost failed.
So
horribly.
close. It almost failed completely. And the thing is he didn't wait for Trashy to take damage. He immediately jumped on him and rooted him inside of the red buff, so he's taking extra damage from
That's
it.
true.
So there's all these little things, and also the fact that he could have pulled it into the bush. You know, there's a lot of...
It was basically as soon as he EQ'd. It was like, your escape is down.
Exactly.
I'm on this.
Exactly.
Roots him into the red buff.
That's how you should do it when you are doing something like that, going after them. Make sure their cooldowns are down. It's like when you're sitting around waiting for a gank, and then you're like, oh, he just used Blade Surge and didn't kill a minion, going in. Or it's like Kennen just used, Lightning Surge, going in.
Yeah, Rift walked on me, anything like that, any kind of a silence being used. And you try to bait it out based on whether a cannon minion is going down or anything like that. It was obviously great. So Gilius set his team up, set Trashy well behind. Again, 4-buff start, pretty incredible. And Unicorns of Love just dictated it from there. Vizichachi crushed the top lane. Power of Evil absolutely dominated the mid lane, horribly. Bot lane was fairly close, to be honest, but it got tipped by Rengar. And just down the line, man. Perfect game by Unicorns of Love. They held control over it, and it was beautiful to watch. We're going to see if they can do that in Game 2 as well, or if H2K can bring it back and win it by Game 3. But, guys, we're going to step off the gas pedal for 3.5 minutes, but when we return, we're going to unleash some more horsepower. It's time for Game 2 between Unicorns of Love and H2K Gaming right after this. Challenger Playoffs will be right back. And are you serious? Vizichachi, one more cleaver to dodge. He dodges that one too. Goes back in for the fight. Can he get away?
Oh
the ghouls might be in the way. That cleaver hit flow. That's going to be the kill. Dwamna gets it. Oh, Dwamna taking the front line. Ignite is on him. Power of Evil tries to get the kill. He does not quite get it though. And now Rengar falls. AOD explodes though, and Peppervin does drop on top of that one.
Oh my god.
Hook flan and Trash. He's going to go down really quickly. AOD is around, but Shotgun hits too. They're going to break him down. Now Dwamna is ignited and will fall on top of that one. 3 for 1 so far.